What's up, everybody? Yes, indeed, I am back, man. But before I get started with the little story, I got to give a shout out to all my fellow truck drivers, man. The truck drivers that have been subscribing to my YouTube channel. I tip my hat to you guys, people. I know what you guys go through day in, day out. I've drove trucks for many years. I got my license back in '96 when I had paroled. I went through a program called JTPA, Job Training Placement Association. When I went to this program to get a career in truck driving, they tried to divert me to pick up a different trade. And the reason is because I was an ex-felon, but my counselor seen how serious I was on becoming a truck driver, you know what I mean? And my passion towards becoming a truck driver, decided to work with me. And he was actually a retired highway patrolman. So he ended up doing for me whatever he did. When they ran my driving record, my felony and my convictions didn't show up. I came up like a productive citizen, I guess you could say. Man, he looked out for me. But so yeah, that's how I ended up getting my truck driver's license. I paroled, and it was back in '96. I still have my license to this current date. It's been a blessing in so many different ways. You know, it kept me accountable on being sober, you know, because especially they started doing them random drug tests. You know, the random drug tests, they drop them at any time. It's like hitting the lotto. Your Social Security comes up in the DOT, and guess what? You got to go down and piss. And, you know, at the beginning, I used to cheat it. You know what I mean? There's ways to cheat it, but after a while, it becomes so like, fuck, man. It's inconvenience, you know what I mean? Just constantly trying to get over on the system, no matter how you look at it. It's trying to be sneaky, trying to take the easy route, you know. The best route, I'm telling you now, is just don't fuck around. Just stay clean, man. So whenever they drop a bottle on you, boom, let's do this. You can piss right there, because I've lost so many good jobs behind that, man. I had jobs that were lined up to do pilot loads, man. One of my first jobs, and I thought it was slick. I'm gonna put you guys up on a little game how good those tests are. Them where they test your urine. That when they do the urinalysis, okay. I had borrowed some piss from my son, because obviously my son wasn't fucking around. Me, I was dirty as can be. I pissed in the bottle so I could raise the temperature on there. But I poured my piss out and then put his in there. And I got hired, but when the results came back, they fired me because it came up for cocaine. And, you know, that was my that was my vice back then. You know, I couldn't shake it. Eventually the shit got old, you know what I mean? And my last job that I was at before I became an online fitness coach, I used to wish for them to fucking drop a bottle on me, man, and they never did. Not one time. Only when I got hired, you know what I mean? I was so proud of myself, you know. I was able to go get hired on with my own piss, not someone else's piss. It's a good feeling, you know what I mean? The satisfaction behind that is, it's there's nothing greater than that, you know. It's like, coming from my point of view, you know what I mean? Being the dope fiend that I was and shit. And how I was able to get clean this last time is going back to the joint, and figuring out that they ain't playing with me no more. Because I've said in the past on one of my other videos about, I had a couple other homies that were fighting the same type of case as me. The only difference between them and me, they came out on the news on their case, and with mine, you know, it was some bullshit, you know, I mean, shit that I've never done, you know. It wasn't my cup of tea. It was for felony evading, man, and they were trying to give me 7 years, and they're giving my homies like 7 months and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with this picture? I guess it's because of my criminal history, you know what I mean? So I thought to myself, man, I need to fucking get a life or end up doing life, you know. So well, anyways, long story short, I went and did my time behind that shit. And, you know, it is what it is, you know what I mean? Roll with the flow. Everything's changed. And, yeah, you know, it went through the system again, way different in the system. The processing in Nally County is still the same. That shit is fucking terrible. I mean, it's not as bad as it used to be. And the reason is, and I'm telling you now, is because back when we were going through, we were mixed with a lot of different races. And because of my generation, and I'm going to tell you this, and no, I'm not glamorizing this, because of the generation that I grew up in, the racism that was going on during that time is nothing what these people of this day of age cry about. They haven't the slightest idea what racism is, man. This world nowadays is such a game changer. Doors have opened to all races. And for me to hear these people crying about shit, I like shake my head, because the guys that went through the system when I went through it, they knew what real racism was, man. And it's way different back then when you could actually say it was racist back then. I mean, it really was, And that was for all races, There was no discrimination. You could be fucking black, white, brown, green. I don't give a fuck. You were getting racism from all walks of life, That's just the way it was that day of age. But yeah, so anyways, going through the system was different, this last time. But I could tell you one thing right now. When there's reglas are set in stone, and they're to be followed. You can't be going against the grain. No matter where you're at and how lucky you think you are, you cannot go against the grain, because if found out, there will be consequences. And depending where you're at, it's going to determine how severe the consequences are, okay? Well, I'm going to go fast forward a little bit to Supermax. That individual that got smashed out, the one that liked to have them dog fights, low key. There was no proof behind it, but supposedly this individual would like to try to place bets. Him and the youngster that rolled it up, the part of the Llavero system. And keep in mind, well, there was that third one, the one that ended up getting smashed on, and he was looking at a stretch too. The youngster was looking at 75 years, and he PC'd up. That went his career. And as far as that one individual, the one that rolled it out, I told you he landed where I was at, and he was walking on eggshells. Well, this individual had a fucking gambling habit. And because I cut him that leniency and tried to open up his eyes for him, he tried to take advantage of that and figured that, okay, well, fuck it, I'm cool. I could keep on being me. So he kept on pressing his luck. Well, no matter where you go in the system, there's going to be reglas, especially coming from Raza, from the umbrella that I fall under. They're very strict, and the deeper you get in the system, the severity of the punishment is, And keep in mind, like I said, this individual landed with me at a reception center, and he got comfortable with after I had pulled him to the side and told him, hey man, you don't have to walk around here on eggshells and shit, but you need to open up your motherfucking eyes. Is basically what I told him, and while this individual, he took that and took it as a grain of salt, So as time went by, you know what I mean? I seen this individual, he had his little followers and shit. Youngsters that really never been, they looked like they were taggers and shit. Taggers caught up for fucking vandalism and shit, whatever they went through. But he liked to gamble, you know what I mean? And one of our reglas was, if you're gonna gamble, you need to hold up your end of the deal, and you're not allowed to gamble with other races. That was forbidden. But this particular individual, I used to see, he used to fuck with this one little youngster, this one little white dude. This little white dude was off the hook, man. He was a fucking travieso. This youngster was always getting DP'd by his people. And keep in mind, this little youngster, he came from a very wealthy family. He was very well skilled in martial arts as well too. Big John was actually his dojo teacher, his sensei. that taught him how to fight and shit. If you guys are familiar with like MMA and shit like that, Big John, I believe that was his name. But anyways, that was his sensei. And whether this little youngster was lying or not, but you know, the packages and shit that he received obviously was he was truthful. He was very well taken care of in the pictures that he was showing me and all that, you know. But long story short, this individual, Mr. Want to go against the grain and, you know, take advantage of situations. Well, he was a gambler. This was the last time where his fucking luck ran out. I tell you that right now. And I knew it was coming, but I didn't think it was going to happen this soon, you know. So it happened before my eyes. Well, this individual, I used to see the way he would horseplay with this individuals, and he was warned, hey, you can't be fucking around with other races like that, homie. No horseplaying, you know what I mean? We don't get down like that. But you know, when a blind eye is turned, you know, this fool would always act like nothing, you know what I mean? So I guess, you know, hey, he's gonna get what he's got coming to him, because this fool is gonna find himself in a wreck, guaranteed, and it's gonna be sooner than what I thought, you know what I mean? So anyways, when we used to go to the yarda and shit like that, it was mandatory yarda. Certain individuals were allowed to sit back and keep an eye on the pad. At this particular reception that I went to this time, it was up north, but I happened to land in a dorm, and it was a dorm that had individuals with different cases. And keep in mind, it was a dorm. This was the funny thing. This is off subject right here. There was a homie that was brought down from I forget what joint it was from. But he was brought down for his case because he was going back to the county jail. He was doing all day, and he was just sitting right there in the middle of the day room, like in disbelief. And I went to chop it up with him, man. And this dude, man, humble as can be, just came from a level 4 yard, you know what I mean? 180 setup, you know, was in the trenches. Where the shit was real, you know what I mean? Just minding his own business. And I used to tell him, hey, homie, you all right? You good, homie? I'm good, camarada, I'm good. I'm just right here enjoying. I said, that's right, homie. You can't let life get the best of you. So I would tell him that, right? And, you know, I was a little older than him, too. And I said, man, check this out, homie. No disrespect or anything, you know what I mean? I know some people, they always start their sentence off like that because it does fall in with disrespect. But no, I was being sincere about this. This individual, I said, hey, my boy, from what I see, you have an old soul in you, Jay. I said, that's a good way to conduct yourself if you want to, you know, go throughout the system and being able to enjoy the rest of your journey here. You know, conduct yourself as a professional the way you are, G. You know what I mean? You carry yourself, like I said, like there's an old soul in your body, homie. You know, there's no disrespect by that. And he goes, nah, shit, man. I appreciate that, homie. I appreciate that, G. And I said, you know, I call it how I see it, homie. You know what I mean? I've been around for a minute, you know what I mean? And I could pretty much weed out who's who, you know what I'm saying? The characters from the fakes and frauds, from the sharks and the wolves, you know? I've been there, done that, and, you know. Well, anyways, homie. You know, if you ever need anything, camarada, I'm right there, homie. Over there on this side over here, on this bunk, you know. And he said, I appreciate that. And then later on to find out the reason why he was sitting there, you know, and, you know, I would ask him, hey, you know, I would go back to him every now and then, hey, man, you good? And the reason why I find out he was so humble and shit, turns out he was a lifer. He shouldn't even been right there in the dorm with us, you know what I mean? Because he was already doing a life sentence. But he was like just, he was in a maze because of the freedom that he was allowed right there. And he just ignored everything that went on around him, and he was just enjoying that TV that was on all day right there for him, you know what I mean? And I already read him. I said, man, this guy is a person that you could read. They say when a person has no soul, he has very black eyes. And this individual was like that, but he was content. So anyways, I got off track a little bit right there, people. I just wanted to share that with you. But back to that fucking idiot. The idiot that wanted to press his luck. Mr. Gambler himself. Okay. You could tell the way him and that youngster, that little white dude, were playing basketball out there, that there was more than just a game going on. There was a challenge there. Well, long story short on this, because I know I've been rambling on, this youngster this youngster put the whooping to Mr. Gambler, the idiot. He beat him. You know what I mean? You could hear him arguing and shit. And this little youngster wasn't the one to argue with. And you got to keep in mind, this youngster didn't know reglas, what would happen if something were to jump off. If that little youngster would have took off on the homie, even though he's a fucking idiot, it would have set off the whole thing. So we noticed this, and we were able to diffuse the situation. And the little youngster took a liking to me. He liked me, you know what I mean? For whatever reasons he did, you know what I mean? We had a lot of similarities. There's a lot to me that a lot of you guys don't know about, you know what I mean? It's a trip, you know what I mean? I can relate to people, and like, you know, as far as where music and all this shit, bike riding and dirt bikes and all that. A lot of people look at me as like, no, you don't do that shit, man. You'd be surprised what I do. I'm a jack of all trades, but master of none. But I guess what I'm trying to say is this youngster took a liking to me, so we were able to, me and the homie, the camarada that was walking around with me, we were able to diffuse the situation, okay? So obviously, this individual, the one that liked to gamble, had something coming. In his head, I guess he assumed that he was going to get a calientada, because he always seen that this youngster was getting a calientada from his people. That's his people. We moved differently. We went from the county to the state now, baby. You're in a real man's playground now. We ain't got time for goofing off and goofy shit. You jeopardize the whole system, the way shit is ran. So, long story short, this individual's discipline, he didn't get his wind taken, but he got a few holes poked in him. And we had a mandatory amount for a chequeada. When we check a motherfucker, we may make them think twice about making that mistake again. Well, this individual should have known better, but he was the gambler, and he took a gamble, and his motherfucking luck ran out. Well, I should say it didn't really run out, because this individual, he PC'd up. Because I guaranteed he would have made a mistake again in the next one, wherever he landed at on the main line, would have cost him his life. Because there's no more chequeadas. You know what I mean? Unless you're on a lower level pinta, you know. But according to this individual, he would have been a level 3 points, you know. And his dumbass would have wound him up and rounded up some more points. Even though the homies are frowned upon that gain points behind stupid shit, because you should be doing more productive shit throughout the system, making sure that the program is ran the way it should be, instead of going back there with some bullshit stories while you're there, because you're not impressing nobody. And this individual, he went to go visit the youngster that had 75 years. He rolled up. He PC'd up. It is what it is. Don't gamble, because guaranteed, you keep on gambling with anything in life, you will take a loss. So when you make that first gamble and you get that win, put it underneath the belt and run with it. You know what I mean? It's the difference between taking chances and gambling, you know what I mean? This individual could have prevented these actions from happening. You know, you can't control someone's actions, but you could actually predict them from happening. And the reason is, if he would have been on his P's and Q's and minded his own business and went with the program, he would still probably be a mainliner. But for now on, forevermore, in my head, in my eyes, he will always be a piece of shit now, because he went to the other side. Now, with that being said, people, if you're still struggling and not knowing where to get started in your fitness journey, shoot me a DM or email me at highpowerfitness@yahoo.com. I got you, man. I will get you started on becoming that best version of yourself. And for the ones that have been reaching out to me and I've jumped on the horn with you, I guarantee it will be the best thing that you've done in your life. Working on yourself, becoming that best version, showing your family that you're the leader that they've always wanted. Now, with that being said, get up and get yours. Let's do this.